Dunton Locks Pottery is located 2 miles south of Detroit Lakes, off Highway 59 by Dunton Locks Park. Open daily 11 to 4. For a closer look at Phil Holton's wood turning, call 346-4780.
Hi there, I'm Phil Holton. I'm a wood turner. I'm very pleased to welcome you to my shop today. Today I'm going to be talking about wood and what wood turners like about wood, what kind of wood we're interested in. Most woodworkers would love to have straight-grained, kind of even-looking wood and probably kiln-dried. And there are times that we wood turners, maybe with making furniture or something, we might want wood that is kind of similar to what other wood turners want, and wood that we could find at a lumber yard. But most often we're going out into the woods to find interesting wood, sometimes because we need bigger stuff than we could get at the lumber yard. This would be like for a column or something. That's a big basswood column. But most often it's because we want color, we want figure, we want something really unusual. And wood turners have some real advantages compared to other woodworkers because we get to use the whole tree. So you see this bowl, which is probably kind of a distinctive Holton bowl. I get to use the bark. So this would be the way this bowl would be in a tree, the pith going right down through here like this, and then the bark would be around the outside of the tree. And you can see that the bark and then the sapwood and then the heartwood are very, very distinctive, and they really show off nicely. That's a kind of figure that most woodworkers would not really have an easy time using. So we like to use heartwood and sapwood. Another thing that we like to use is color. And so I've got just a few kinds of wood over here that are interesting. Some of these might be woods that are exotic woods. I've got some bubinga and some cocobolo. I've got some walnut. But some of the most interesting and colored woods are woods that come from locally as well. This is Carrigana. And one of the reasons this bowl has a very unusual shape is that the very prettiest color of any wood around here, it doesn't get more than about 2 or 3 inches in diameter. So if I'm going to turn a bowl out of this, I turn it like this. But you can see that beautiful color. And I tend not to buy woods, tropical, exotic hardwoods and stuff, but I certainly have used purple heart and yellow heart and things like that. More often, I'm going to use domestic woods, local woods, because we have beautiful woods around here. And the thing that I'm most interested in are burls. And I'm just going to show you a burl down here on the floor. So this is the way I would get a burl. So you can see how the tree has been cut off a little above and below. This tree had a number of burls in it. I've had burl trees that had 500 burls in them. Some of them all the way out to the very tips of the branches with little burls. I like big burls. Some of the burls that I've harvested have names in their neighborhood. They're like the pregnant tree, or they're like the omen tree. Some of them they're so scary that little kids ride their bikes on the other side of the road from them because they're too scary. But I love them because inside a burl, you're going to find the most interesting grain of any. So here is a black ash burl. Even for black ash burls, that one is very, very unusual. Here's another kind of black ash burl. This is called an eyed burl. And if any of you know about eyed maple, bird's eye maple, this has many, many more eyes than bird's eye maple does. But here's what I do when I'm looking at something like this. I would say, so how am I going to get a burl out of this, a bowl? You have to eat some pizza to do this. So I'm going to take some different pieces like this and say, okay, I think I can get something right out of here. Maybe there's another one that I get right out of here. But it's a little like cutting a diamond. And I find it very, very exciting and challenging. and very worthwhile. So you see this piece here has Ash Burl in the sapwood. There's light colored wood on the top, but then it has cracks and it has some spalting and rot going on here. It's got a crack right through it. Now for some woodworkers they'd run away from that, but we wood turners, we tend to find that to be the most interesting wood of all. And if you bought one of these and put them in your house, it would really show off beautifully against your stainless steel and granite or something like that, and bring a really organic character to your place. This is another very unusual sort of figure that most people have never ever heard of. This is called bird peck. And bird peck is a kind of wood in which a yellow-bellied sapsucker, which is a specialized kind of woodpecker that bores into a tree. They love apple trees, they love maple trees. This is an elm tree. And they suck the sap out of a particular area and girdle the tree. And the amazing thing is they may come back the next year again, year after year. The tree kind of reacts and covers over, gets just grotesque. So I've made some beautiful things out of bird peck. Sometimes, here's some basswood that I'm working on for some bowls. And here is some bird peck that shows what was happening years before a yellow-bellied sapsucker was enjoying this basswood tree. I had kind of an interesting experience. I turned a bunch of bowls for some people who had a cabin on a neighboring lake for 50 years. And it was an oak tree. It wasn't particularly interesting grain. It's kind of like, well, how is this going to work? But here, 50 years in, here was a row of bird peck that was dated from the very year that the family moved into the cabin. They thought it was wonderful because it told the story of that tree. Here's another kind of wood that I like using very much. This is called spalted wood. And this one is too. And this is wood that started to spoil, started to decay. And if I start early, it's given this blue color to this one here, the mountain ash. This is some birch. This was a little difficult to do because it was a little further along. But isn't that just unusual? You know, here on this side you can see that generally birch isn't so interesting or beautiful, but just look at what happens there when the wood has started to decay and just gives it an incredible look. Box elder has bright red. Hackberry has bright green. It gets to be quite lovely. Another thing we might look at in wood, this isn't something that I've turned, but this is called curly wood, or tiger, or fiddleback. And that is some wood that has had a lot of stress as it's been growing, and therefore it gets a very high figure in it. So this might be something that I'd be very interested in turning. So all in all, we're interested in unusual kinds of wood, kind of tell the story of the tree. We're not very interested in wood that's kind of straight from the lumber yard, straight grained. We're looking for something that has a little more, something interesting. And my design, I'm trying to make something that really highlights the uniqueness of this wood. That makes me get up in the morning pretty excited to see what I'm going to do with a new piece of wood. So thanks for coming to my shop, learning a little bit about wood, and I hope you'll come back again to visit me in my wood turning shop. I'd love to help you find a beautiful piece of my wood turning for your home or for a gift, or to teach you how to turn wood yourself at one of my workshops. I have 2 videos that would also help you learn to turn.